Please take a second to look over this disclaimer before proceeding to the rest of this video. And gals, once again, this is Alfred from Amassers.com, and in this video I'm going to try and talk about some of the utility and specifically how to read this new application that we've added on our website. You can find this application on the home page of the website right above our news, our aggregated news that we have here on the site. This is the Fearmonger, and what it is inspired by the VIX, which is a fear and greed index for the S&P. This is our own fear and greed index for the Bitcoin, but really, since everything is correlated with Bitcoin, I call it the Bitcoin in crypto in general. So it's a market sentiment index. So let's just dive right in. I'm going to start with an old axiom, and we're going to replace VIX with Fearmonger. When the Fearmonger's high, it's time to buy. When the Fearmonger's low, it's time to go. Okay, if there are only two emotions, ebb and flow between those two emotions of fear and greed, then that's really what you want to be tracking in order to get an idea of market sentiment, and in order to try the best you can to stay on the right side of history. So this number right here is the number on our Fearmonger. In order to make this a little easier, my brother and I came up with this original idea of using bears to represent fear in the market and bulls to represent greed. Now, I know you've probably never heard that terminology before, bears and bulls, but we just came up with it. That's how we do. Okay? But more seriously, um, we have a potential of five, excuse me, 5+ bears, and conversely, this would be fear, but conversely, 5+ bulls would be a situation where there's a lot of greed in the market. So let's uh, let's look real quick and see what that would look like. Here's some snappies I took. This is extreme fear, in fact, where we are right now. And you can see this number here is out there, 28.697. This is a neutral area. You can see that we've got a bear on this side, a bull on the other, and it's neutral. This is a market that can go either way. This is a relatively low number, and you see we've got 5 bulls plus. Okay, now remember what we said. If Fearmonger's low, it's time to go, and that's counterintuitive. But first, let's look at this. This is some old tweets from like a year and a couple of months ago, and I'm quoting some numbers. This is all I was doing. I was just quoting the numbers from the Fearmonger indicator, but I really didn't have anything but the numbers, and I would just give my interpretation. And you can see these numbers at the time, they're just dwindling down. I've isolated these days here, starting where I've got my vertical line at, and you can see that the market's going up. Now, these red candles, these each represent a day. So if you're seeing a red candle, then the day ends down. So there was more fear in the market. Green candles represent greed. You could make the argument that there's more uh, greed in the market. And there's our old version. This is what I used to work with of all of those, just the numbers which we have, derived with a formula. But I can tell that as this is getting lower, remember, Fearmonger's low and it's time to go, and price itself is getting higher. Now, what does this mean? For me, not financial advice, but for me, I like to sell into this strength and buy. I'm selling, let's say Bitcoin, I'm selling Bitcoin to buy stables, and vice versa. Is the market begins to tank, then this obviously is coming up. So more fear coming into the market. You could read this in price action as well. That's what these candles are. Okay, now this number here, we're somewhere around, oh, let's see, we're almost, 47, 48K, but this is currently where we are. Back down here, wrestling to hold on to 30K. And you can see fear, this line here, this represents the fearmonger. It was just a different interpretation. And you see right there, we were way up, you know, in the stratosphere. So that's really a lot of how you would look at this and how you would use it every day. What you want to do, and you'll notice in the tweets, I wasn't using, like, I'm not sitting here watching every digit go by trying to react in the market. I'm just trying to catch a vibe of, is there a growing fear in the market, or is there growing greed in the market, so that I can get that bigger picture vision and know where I should be. Because in order to be profitable, I've said this before, all you need is the right. It's like with music, you need the right song at the right place at the right time. A few days ago, I showed a Doge trade, and all we were doing was just, when there was this amazing amount of fear in the market and everything was trading very low, we were buying Doge. And hey, if that's the bigger picture, that's what it's showing you. Then is that fear comes out of the market. The little bit over 7 cent Doge we purchased is going to be more around the 9 cent that it is today. So it appreciated in a shorter period of time. That's one of the real world utilities that I found for using something like the fearmonger. Of course, as you start to notice that fear is rising, if you come and check this out every day and you notice that fear is rising, you might want to, before you get stuck at the bottom, you want to already be selling, and moving some money over to stables. And that's another utility that you can really integrate the fearmonger into. So I think that's about everything, guys. I showed you guys those little screenshots of how we'll look. Is this certainly, as we get out of this area, the most you're going to see is 5 plus, or on either side. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that this number right here, is going to stop. This number can keep going, but I use these. We made these so that you could kind of get how I would read the numbers, representing with this This is a lot of fear. This is we're off in the stratosphere here. And it's probably some buying opportunities because the number's high. Okay, but what's high? That's how you interpret high. And that's really the use there. I hope this is all making sense, guys. I hope everyone can find a lot of use and utility as more people actually check this out and integrate it into their investing. Then it'll help us all to stay in sync with our understanding of where we are in the market. That's all, guys. This is a completely free application available on our site here at Amassers.com. See you guys on the next video. Once again, like, share, comment, subscribe. If we've helped you, please help us by sharing this content with others.